thought the guy was on my back. I didn't realize I was on. Yeah, with the close save. There was one where that cross went straight across inside the 5-yard box. Everyone was standing there, but just didn't put a foot out to it. It's just we need to be more clinical. Besides that, we did pretty much everything right. Except set pieces. Did everything right. Did everything good. Yeah, so you can just, I mean, it's unlucky. If it's not a reoccurring thing, you can just chuck it up to being unlucky. Everyone can see set pieces every once in a while. Being a good Does the strapping, like, does the shit really do anything, or is that? It's just like for stability. Go, George. Go, Jordy. Go, Jordy.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. That's what we say about the Azzurri boys, you know?
That was good here, me and Keano were doing it down there.
Oh, who are you taking to that? Yeah.
He's sitting there.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, roll it off.
That's fucking, he's got a good system.
Has he been playing? It's surprised you. No, he makes some good point of this. Oh, like I like it. Well, you still got stuff with Paramount and that, doesn't it? That's what it's name. Like, yeah, as soon as the A-League's finished, like, imagine if it's up north, you know, instead of northern, yeah, I'll just do that. Like, none of us are getting a gear if he wants to do it. So, yeah, he'd walk straight in with that, unfortunately. Good.
Good afternoon and welcome to Arthur Eden Oval. It's one of those fixtures you circle on the calendar the moment the draw drops. Lambton Jaffas versus Charlestown Azzurri, and it carries a whole lot more than just local pride this time round. We're deep into the business end of the Northern New South Wales NPL season, and the finals race is tighter than a goalmouth scramble in stoppage time. The Jaffas, they sit sixth, but they're just a point outside the top five and just 3 behind today's opponents, Azzurri. It's clear this one's got some serious ladder implications. For Lambton, it's about converting grit into goals. They've built their campaign on defence, one of the best rear guards in the comp, but scoring has been the sticking point. 11 goals in 12 games isn't going to cut it in the finals picture. Their coach, David Tenchevsky, has made it clear this is the stretch where they have to prove they belong. With Charlestown, Magic and Western all to come in the next 8 days, this is the time to fire. The big boost today, captain and goalkeeper Ben Kennedy returns. A huge presence, a voice and a safe pair of hands between the sticks. Unfortunately, Tom Waller was not past fit and the Jaffas will be without him today, but they are closing in on full strength when it matters most this season. As for Azzurri, they're fourth on the ladder and desperate to keep daylight between themselves and the pack below. They've had back-to-back draws, and while they've shown flashes of brilliance, they know they'll need to lift to bank 3 points here, especially with key absences. Their goalkeeper, Ben McNamara, and stalwart at the back, Taylor Regan, both missing from action. James Pascoe knows his team will need a sharper performance, especially in the final third, and he'll remember the last time these two met ended in a tough and scrappy 1-1 draw. Two sides with final aspirations, two sides with something to prove, and it's all going to unfold right here across the next 2 hours at Arthur Eden Oval. I'm Chris McPherson, and joining me today is someone who's been right in the thick of Lambton seasons, Jaffas young gun Matt Butner. Sidelined through injury, but very much on the pulse of the squad. Matt, as someone who's been in the trenches with the Jaffas boys, is there a feeling that this is the week that Lambton need to make their move?
Yeah, hey Chris, thanks for the introduction. And yeah, massive week, massive game today for both clubs. But yeah, on Jaffas' point of view, it's a 6-point game, Chris. Like, you know, it's that point of the year. There's a big month of football ahead. Plenty of rained-out games, of course. And, you know, both teams very keen to play finals football. Both teams probably leading into this game with mixed results as well, trying to find form. And as you said, you know, Tanjevski and the whole club understands the importance of this game. And today, I think 3 points for either side's massive. But, yeah, heading into Magic on Tuesday night and then Western next weekend, it's pretty crucial to get a win today and start to build some sort of form.
It's a good measuring stick too, though, at this point of the season. We were talking off air about, you know, teams wanting to have momentum at the right time of the year, but to have those, you know, 3 of the top 4 sides in a window where you need to take some points from it, but it's not, you know, do or die finals just yet. Must be it's a nice measuring stick. I'm sure it'll be a better measuring stick if they take, say, 6 or 7 points out of it for David Tanjevski and the crew. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, you're completely right about that. And I guess it is where you want to start building form at this point of the season. But I think from a Jaffas point of view, as you mentioned earlier, 11 goals this season in 12 games is not going to cut it. And I think that's probably the talking point for the club and the players as well is, you know, if we start to get ourselves into scoring positions and scoring more goals, the confidence will come. We know that defensively we're tight-knit, but we're not going to win games if you don't score. The best result is a draw. So if we can fix that up, try to score some more goals, then the confidence will start to come and the points will come as well.
Well, it's going to be interesting for James Pascoe and his crew. They'll obviously be eyeing off getting some momentum going. As I said, 2 draws coming into this game. They haven't been in the best run of form. Just 1 win from their last 5. And they know leading into 2 games against Bell Swans and Valentine that a bit of momentum could be crucial against those lower sides. But let's take a look as we see whether the belief from these 2 sides translates into goals and results. Let's take a look at how the 2 teams do line up. We'll start with the away side, Charlestown Azzurri. In goals, replacing Ben McNamara is number 21, Jordan Volovsky. Number 2 is Jethro Elkington. 3, Reen Ferguson. Number 5 is Cameron Joyce. 7, Harry Frendo. 8, Jackson Frendo. 9, Regan Lundy. 11, Tyron Cousins. 13, Kieran Hayes. 15, Nathan Verity. And 17, Matt Hall. Their bench made up of 10, Jared Sutherland. 12, Archie Parks. 18, Reece McManus. 20, Hunter Ryan. 23, Sam Caldwell. And 27, Isaac Preston Poole. And they are coached by James Pascoe. While the home side, the Lambton Jaffas, as we said, they welcome back their captain and talisman, number 1, Ben Kennedy in goals. 3, Pat Bond. 4, Jimmy Oates. 6, Joey Langlois. 9, Shisuke Kirihara. Number 10, Archie Finn. Number 12, Oscar Krakenthorpe. 15, Sam Donnellan. 17, Riley McNaughton. 20, Bailey Newton. And 44, the ever-reliable Nikolai Topor Stanley. Their substitutes, number 31, Hunter Caminade. 7, Lockie Graham. 11, Lockie Griffiths. 14, Riley Taylor. 18, Miles Gaffney. And 19, Carter Smith. And they're coached by David Tanjevski. Now, Matt, in terms of how these teams line up, it's looking like both will more than likely take a variation of the 4-3-3 structure that they've played most of the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think both clubs will approach this game, you know, with a 4-3-3, as you said, and both teams have probably played that formation this year, and it's stuck well. You know, there's a lot of good individual battles today. You know, I think both clubs have got a pretty strong starting squad here. Plenty of X factor on the bench. Of course, the captain Ben Kennedy's back. I hope for the Jaffas that brings a bit of belief and leadership as well. But yeah, no doubt Charlestown are coming to Arthur Eden today and are looking to secure 3 points and trying to come out the gates early.
It's going to be interesting too. We talk about Lambton's need to find goals. An opportunity almost. I mean, you can never look at anything and say for certain, but a young goalkeeper in his first start in the NPL this season, Jordan Volovsky, missing one of the anchors of their defence, or a couple of the anchors of their defence. When you look, we were talking about Reece Pappas before, he's out of action. Taylor Regan out injured with what looks like some rib injury from last week. the time is now. The opportunity's there for Lambton. If not now, when?
Yeah, of course. Definitely is a game that is very important, and I think there is goals, and I hope it's a strong start from both clubs. Like, it's a great day for football, and, you know, it's exciting.
On the service, it presents as an absolutely mouth-watering clash. We've got 90 minutes of football ahead of you, live and free on the Northern New South Wales Football YouTube channel. We're underway here, Azzurri versus Jaffas. It is fourth, clashes with sixth. Azzurri in their traditional blue kit, going from left to right of your screen. Jaffas in the bright yellow with the black trim. As the two veterans combine there, Nikolai Topol-Stanley, just a little tap onto Ben Kennedy. It looks like they're going to stop and have a cup of tea and a chat then.
First touch of Ben Kennedy. I don't think he'll want to do much running today.
No, I don't think so. Look, I'm sure BK won't mind us saying this. I don't think running's his favourite thing to do most days. But again, you know, if you're a good goalkeeper, you probably shouldn't need to be doing too much sprinting. You'd be rather using his wisdom of years.
Of course. And he will tell you that as well.
He's gone long here. Just transition around in midfield. Kirihara drops it back. Lofted forward. A little optimistically. Could fall kindly. Oates was sneaking around there, and Oates will be the man. Will he to take the throw? No. It'll be Denellen. Deep in attacking territory. Nice little feint around. Threads the ball into the box. Good first opportunity for the Jaffas. Charlestown do enough to clear it away and over the sideline. Now the throw, heading in for Finn. He turns, gets the ball in the box, but well broken up. I think it was maybe Elkington that got to that first.
Bit of tall timber for both clubs. I think set pieces, you'd say both clubs in this competition are probably well known for being a threat on the set pieces.
I've seen Azzurri a lot this year utilise the long throw even into the box, those dangerous tall players. And I'll tell you what, Archie Finn's letting young Jordan Velkovsky know about the difference in experience between the two of them at the moment there on the set piece. As it falls back, Denellen lofts it back into the box. Volovsky watches it across. It falls for Oates, who taps it back down. McNaughton's coming through, cleans up the Azzurri player after the fact. Not a lot of malice in it, and just a free kick.
You mentioned the last time these two teams played a 1-1 draw, Chris, and I was at that game, and I think Charlestown, from memory, got up 1-0. The great ball from Matty Hall from a wide area, which I think found the head of one of the boys up front. And the Jaffas clawed themselves back into the game 1-1 and actually finished very strong from memory. It's going to be interesting to see how this first half pans out. Both teams pretty keen to come out the gates. Pretty strong.
Yeah, momentum can be a funny thing in football, and it's all well and good to grab it late, as you say, but if you can't capitalise that into 3 points, then trying to turn that deficit around isn't a lot of value. But first blow can always be a strong one, as it's just poked across the line by Joyce. Jaffas go with the throw. It spills into the box after a clash. Finn takes a strike. Volovsky does well, first time of asking, and parries it over the crossbar. He's alert, the young keeper. Yeah,
first test for the day, and he's stuck to his guns. Good save, and it's the second corner for the Jaffas now. Good little half turn from Archie on the edge of the box. I think Sam Denellen's already got 5 touches with his hands on the throw-in, but he's doing well. See what Bailey Newton can produce from the set piece.
Newton, a great welcome back in at the midpoint of the season. Crosses this towards the back post. Topol-Stanley, and then headed in again, and then Volovsky. Those hands came from nowhere. I thought he was beaten for all money. He's 2 from 2, the youngster.
Yeah, he'll get some confidence from that definitely early in the game.
I'll tell you what, he looked nice and calm and composed when Archie Finn was giving him a little bit of feedback on that first set piece, which is, I mean, it's about all you can do, right? It's just turn up, show up, and just try and keep to what you're doing.
Of course, turn up, do your job.
It's the real polar opposites at either end here in terms of both age and build as well. Like, Volovsky, not the biggest keeper. And, yeah, let's be fair, BK's probably got the best part of 20 years on him. Man who would have 20 years on him now is on the ball. Topol-Stanley at the ripe age of 40. It's only a matter of seasons before his age will match that jersey number. and I wouldn't back against him still playing at that point. He's looking as fit as he has.
Yeah, he is. Longevity in sport's amazing, and Topol-Stanley is a prime example of that. Such a great athlete.
I think sometimes we talk about it, calling one of the New Lambton games. I know you're calling New Lambton on Tuesday night in the catch-up match that around with young Harry Scobie, and Piddington there, who's played, the story goes, 400 NPL games, which is just phenomenal. And, you know, again, at the centre of defence, which is a physical position, it requires a lot of work, a lot of, you know, effort, a lot of contact. It's, yeah, to play it anywhere, but, you know, in any sport to play 400 games, but let alone at this level at NPL is phenomenal.
Yeah, that is,
and I suppose
quite outstanding.
Topor, to be fair, played 300 and something A-League games. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but throw in all the NPL games, and he's probably creeping up towards 500 when you consider he probably played NPL in Canberra before he made his debut.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible.
Kennedy goes long here, up for the challenge. Cousins comes away with the header. Now, Finn again working, plays it down the line. Crossed into the back of the 18-yard box. Newton will work across, but the offside flag has gone up against Bailey Newton. You can see early Lambton looking to take those opportunities just to switch the point of the attack and keep that Charlestown defence moving and on their toes.
Yeah, definitely. They're trying to exploit the right side at the moment through Jimmy Oates and Sam Donnellan, trying to get early ball to Archie Finn as well, and then look to switch that out to Bailey Newton, which just didn't pull off then. They've probably come out the better of the two sides, but nothing's really broken free as of yet.
Just an update to those team lists that we read out. We might come back to that in a second once the clearance occurs, if it does. Shisuke Kirihara, we did announce him in number 9. He is clearly wearing jersey number 8. As Hayes plays that through. Krakenthorpe tight on his opposition player there. Gets away with that one. Played forward. Krakenthorpe won't get away with that header though. It spills across the line. Hull now with the throw. Happy to take his time, wait for things to present. Topor Stanley marshalling traffic at the other end. Looks to go into the head of the experienced Ferguson. Plenty of experience in that battle, Ferguson versus Topor Stanley. Kirihara, nice little touch, but the second effort from Elkington cleans it up. Verity playing in the centre of defence alongside Hayes. They work it out. A little bit of a misstep, but he managed to recover before Oates can jump on the loose ball. Joyce now decides that it's time to work it back to the keeper in Volovsky. Verity plays it through. See neither side giving an inch in defence here. Topor Stanley pushes it wide, misdirected, but well won out by Oates. Topor Stanley feints to the right, decides to come to the left, calls a player to him. Newton doesn't come, so he lays it off to Krakenthorpe. Now Newton's there. Sandwich between a couple of players, but somehow comes away with the ball. Great, close quarter work by Krakenthorpe before Charlestown pushed across the line. You can see the intensity and effort here early, Butts. It's some of these other match of the round games, as you said, though, these two teams coming out of the gates, some of the other games early in the season, certainly this level of intensity hasn't been there from the get-go. Yeah,
definitely. I think both teams know the importance of this game and the importance of this start. It's a slick move out the left side there.
Played forward, sitting for Lundy. Lofts it into the box well. Topor Stanley meets it. Newton's there now, a little chip on. He's going to try and get to the outside with pace. All cleaned up by Jethro Elkington. He's been good in sweeping up some crumbs a few times already. Now Bond plays it. He'll go wide. Donnellan there decides to cut back in. McNaughton. So I always enjoy McNaughton. Is a great story. There's a couple of these players around the league where they've become absolute fixtures in the defensive teams, but they weren't defensemen for a large part of their career. It became out of necessity, and then I guess how much aplomb they've taken to it. I mean, when you look at Riley McNaughton, the first thought that jumps to you isn't that he's an imposing centre-back. I mean, the way he goes about things, he certainly is.
Yeah, for sure. He's a leader at the back now, and that's how I've known him as well. We'll just see how this plays out quickly.
Ferguson, yeah, coming forward, the experience, crosses it into the box dangerously, a little too big even for the height of Harry Frendo.
Yeah, going back to that point, Chris, it was news to me actually when you told me a couple of weeks back that he started up front, because I've only known Riley for a couple of years now, I guess, since I joined the Jaffas, and I've only known him as a centre-back.
Yeah, there's I think Ben Diamond at Magic's another one where they're just these guys that have, I guess it's the epitome of, this semi-professional level of football, right? Like sometimes you just need to be called upon to do a job that is, different to what you, have done for most of your career, and you slot in and you do well at it, and all of a sudden it's, finding really good, strong centre-backs is a hard piece as Charlestown get to the edge of the 18-yard box again. Frendo dropping it back to Joyce. Joyce lofts it in. Krakenthorpe does well just to get a header on and diffuse somewhat the danger. Frendo's going to try and see this across the byline, and doesn't. Interesting, the assistant referee pointed to the corner, pointed to the goal kick, but the referee has decided that it will be a corner.
Yeah, Charlestown just enjoying a good spell of possession at the moment. Pushing down the left side, a couple of nice balls into the box. It's going to be their first corner of the game.
Here's Matt Houle. Southwestern corner here at Arthur Eden. One of the few tiny spots of shade. And it's here so far, beautifully bathed in sunshine today, Arthur Eden. It's driven in, some backspin underneath it, but it still beats everyone and skims away. And we'll have a goal kick. Probably not quite what he was looking for there, just overhit it a little. And so he's just trying to float it up with that little bit of backspin on it and hopefully get it to drop around that back post. As I was saying, Butts, you couldn't ask for much better conditions for football here today. There is some queries around some treatment the council's given the pitch during the week. You'll notice if you're viewing that the ball's got a very green tinge to it, and that is due to that treatment. They've got some discoloration. So, yeah, but outside of that, the pitch looks wonderful. It's nice and dry. The sun's out. Low 20s. It's... I know that every week you're probably itching to get back out there, but today as much as any.
Yeah, no, it's a ripper day. Great conditions for some NPL football. And in terms of the pitch, I mean, considering all the rain we had over the last month, it seems to be pretty dried out at the moment. There's obviously a bobble here as well, as you can tell. So expect, just as Topper's done there, a little bit more long. I think both clubs try to adopt that into their playing style as well. So tend to see that as the game flows on, because I think through the middle of the pitch, it's definitely got a little bit of a bobble to it.
And a bit of interest and intrigue, as you say, and a little bit of strategy about how you go about it. But at the end of the day, the fact that we're on and playing football after the start of the year, as you touched on, is a wonderful thing in the sunshine. And where would you rather be than either here at Arthur Eden or tuned in live and free on the Northern New South Wales Football YouTube channel? You can catch all your men's and women's NPL first and reserve grade all season live and free. Langlois plays it to Topple Stanley. Newton presents short. Topple Stanley puts a bit of slice on it, but again, Volovsky out and up to the task. Happy just to send his team forward and take his time, and see what he's got a boot on him, does young Jordan Volovsky. Clears that a good 50 metres before it's headed over the sideline, and Azzurri will get a throw. No, Charlestown players decides to clear that second ball right into the Jaffas bench. Bull now with the throw. Wants to go long, targeting Frendo off the shoulder. Oh, assistant referee says it's come off the Jaffas last. It's just taking a little tiny deflection on the way. And they inch forward a little further, do Azzurri. Bull again looking for Frendo. Newton on the ball tight in their own quarters, and they decide to live by the old adage, if in doubt, kick it out. Houle again. I'll tell you what, you're talking about Lambton before with the throw-ins. Matt Houle's spent the last 3 minutes straight just standing on the sideline throwing the ball in.
Yeah, he's been getting plenty of touches as well. Both the fullbacks, the right backs from either club have got plenty of touches of recent.
Archie Finn taking a rugby league style hit up there. Play on, says the referee. And then a nice sliding tackle as return favour. There's no love lost here.
Yeah, good battle. Good battle, good recovery.
Plenty of physicality, and again, the referees letting each side give as good as they get, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, it's good adjudicating, and I think both clubs, as we've mentioned previously, Chris, the handball that wasn't seen, play on. But both clubs are probably well known in this competition to be a little bit more experienced and physical, especially Charlestown, I think. And so I like that the referee is playing this game out thus far. It's been a healthy contest, and I think it'll continue in that affair.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot this season, haven't we? The fact that a lot of sides are happy, especially earlier in the season where the pitches have been a little bit heavier and slower. They're happy to play that bit more physical football because it's slowing up. And these two sides, as long as it's, you know, both sides giving it and it's not anything too cynical or over the top, then the punters are here to watch them play. So the referees are letting them do that and doing a wonderful job this season. Elskin Krakenthorpe now gets it tight to the line, plays it into the midfield. A nice little chip ball on. Kirihara, nice close control, feeds it through. It's going to be a foot race here, and Oates comes away with it, does he? Not quite. Fights back to get it again, and players going into contact. The referee says the ball was cleanly got by Hayes. And I tell you what, to be fair, there's a couple of other Jaffas players. It wasn't Oates complaining about the contest.
There's a little half chance there. One thing you know you're going to get from Jimmy Oates is he's not going to give up on the ball. So you give him half a sniff, he's going to keep chasing for 90 minutes. And playing him at, you know, the right wing position here just gives the Jaffas a little bit more, you know, dynamic power moving forward. Again, they're searching for goals and, you know, they're trying things. I think Jimmy Oates can potentially offer that.
I think that was sort of prototypical Jimmy Oates, wasn't it? It was a sort of almost a misplaced pass, and then everyone just sort of watched it go past the back line, and he went, all right, well, I'll go through and try and sniff after that.
Yeah, definitely.
He's that real Johnny on the spot sort of guy who'll just pop up when there's, you know, just for putting himself in the right positions enough time, as Topor Stanley rushes one back to Kennedy, who clears it away. Krakenthorpe will try and keep this in bounds, can't do, and we've got a collision.
Tanchevsky's hit the deck.
David Tanchevsky man down, but yeah, absolutely no malice in that, as Harry Frendo straight away looked very apologetic when he realised who he'd cleaned up, I think, you know, if you clean up a bench player when one of those spills over the sideline, you just go, well, that's all's fair in love and war. But when it's the coach just sitting there minding his own business, having a quiet afternoon, especially a man that's as well known around the traps as Tanchevsky is, been involved with both clubs. It's a good battle out there, Joyce and Oates at the moment. Drive it long and it falls to Kennedy, who just resets things and lays it off. Danellen now. Into Bond. Now lobs it forward. As you talked about before, Matt, just looking to clear through that midfield rather than try and play it through with that bit of uneven surface through the middle.
Yeah, it's funny as a player, Chris, as well. You know, you play the games out week by week, and obviously the conditions change throughout the season. And I think we're at that point of the season now where, you know, the field is somewhat dry at the moment, but it's definitely been ripped up. It's definitely not in its prime, being 12 rounds into the season. So you do have to adopt your playing style a little bit. You can't always play that pretty football and get away with it. You might have to play the longer ball or look a little bit more direct.
At the end of the day, fans do enjoy pretty football, but they much more enjoy effective football. I think it doesn't matter which club you are, they're too happy to see you playing pretty football. If you're sitting in 10th or 11th on the ladder, they'd much rather you sit 2nd or 3rd in grafting, less designed, more direct sort of stuff. There's an intercept here. Now, all of a sudden, numbers pushing forward. On the counter here, Oates to Kirihara. He's going to loft it to the back post. He overcooks it a little bit. Newton, can he reel it in? Gets a friendly spin on the ball as it stays inside the byline. Krakenthorpe there with him. End up in close quarters. Newton ends up on the deck. Krakenthorpe feeds it inside. Lenoir chips it. Not quite sure where he was designing that for. Kirihara miles from it, and it's going to go away for a goal kick. But again, a bit better opportunity for the Jaffas. Both these sides having some half chances across the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, good areas. Again, come off an interception in the middle of the field there, and you had a handful of players from the Jaffas flooding forward. I think it's just a matter of execution now. And again, a little bit difficult with the pitch at the moment. As you can see, Joey Lenoir just putting the ball a little bit too deep. Kirihara as well, the back stick to Bailey Newton. Just got to get one to come off for either side.
Driven goal kick comes and finds the head of Topor Stanley. The two veterans going toe-to-toe, Topor Stanley and Ferguson. Split out wide now for Lundy. One-on-one with Denellen. Oates arrives as reserve support. Falls into the box dangerously. I just don't know that Tyron Cousins thought that was going to come to him. He was sitting on his heels.
Yeah, it's a wicked ball. I mean, as a striker, you wouldn't want it anywhere else.
The other ones today, I think that, you know, especially knowing that that Ben Kennedy's just come back from that calf injury, those ones that just sort of half in no man's lands that BK would normally be straight out to, whether he's going to have that faith in his explosive ability, especially early doors here, they might be the danger ones for Azzurri. This one falls nicely for Kirihara, but again, Elkington's there to clean up. Oates is going to race back. Joyce gets there first. Plays it down the line. Jackson Frendo dispossessed. Denellen has it taken away. And I'll tell you what, there's been a couple of times where things look like they're just starting to build up, and all of a sudden Jethro Elkington pops his nose in there and breaks them up for Azzurri.
Yeah, he's very good at that, isn't he?
Appeals for a handball there. Play on, says the referee. Play it back to Krakenthorpe.
You can see that bobble in effect. It's difficult, you know, it's difficult when you're out there and you want to be quick on the ball. You want to get out of your feet and play your next pass straight away, but you know, you've got to give yourself another 2 seconds to almost get it down and under control. And then you don't want to put your mate under pressure as well. So, yeah, through the middle of the pitch today, it's going to be difficult, as you can see.
I'm just having a look at Charlestown and the way that they're playing forward as Ferguson goes forward, places a nice ball into the box. Topor Stanley does well just to get in front of Frendo. He tries to loft it back for a teammate advancing, but their midfield sitting very deep. And Archie Finn there just clipped it up onto his own hand, unseen. Unfortunately for Archie Finn, he had his back to the referee, and the assistant referee was quite a way away. Interesting commentary coming from the Charlestown bench, just having a chat with the fourth official. He's dealing with it nice and calmly. Yeah, as I was saying, it's interesting that they are playing clearly a 4-3-3 Charlestown, but you've got Cousins and Lundy switching in and out of the top line, so it almost looks like a 4 at the front at times. And then you've got Jackson Frendo, that is roaming out wide on the left, and then Elkington sitting back. So it's not a traditional shaped 4-3-3 the way they're doing it. It's fairly fit to purpose, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, all the players in the front line are fit to play in every role.
There's Elkington again getting a boot in.
You can see probably the chances that Azzurri have had today have come from their left side, putting a ball into the box. There's been a couple that have been unanswered at the moment, but it's definitely where they're having success.
Deflection on that one from Krakenthorpe. Yeah, certainly it is. It's funny, it's that far side for both teams that seems to be unlocking a little more so far. We've got an Azzurri player down on the edge of the 18-yard box here. The ball goes out and the referee will pull us up. The one thing with that sort of a little bit less orthodox structure of Charlestown, and we saw it before when they tried to chip that ball back when they sort of ran out of space on the top of the 6-yard box, is if Elkington and Jackson Frendo aren't pushing up, there's a big gap there, and that's something that Lambton might be able to, on the transition, then just try and catch them, depending on who reacts and who doesn't. Sometimes that's the piece, right? When you try something a little bit different, you've got to be prepared to have the clean up or the you know, what's the plan B or the plan C of the different format to make sure that you keep picking up those extra bits.
Yeah, of course. I think transition will be massive in this game, especially as it plays on in the second half as well. If it stays as is into the second half, it's going to be a matter of moments. And both teams are pretty explosive and got that, you know, that firepower up front to find a goal. I'd say Charlestown more so this season, definitely. But yeah, in the middle of the pitch, I feel like it's going to open up for sure. Especially if you're trying to exploit and play more players up front, there's got to be space.
Yeah, as you say, Charlestown certainly much more prolific in front of goal. We know there's some names for Jaffas that have got the ability. They just haven't really found the net as much. But when you have a look, you know, you've got Harry Frendo, Regan Lundy both with 5 each, Tyron Cousins with 3, Ferguson with 2, despite playing a lot of the season off the bench. You know, you've got plenty of people that can score. McManus comes off the bench. He's got 4 goals. So plenty of goals to their name, plenty of different options too, which is sometimes you see these teams that sit, around the edge of the top 5 and they score plenty of goals, but it might be that one player's, putting away 60% when you've got so many different threats, and they've got 4 of those guys playing in that top line at different points, pulling in and out. It's going to certainly be an alert and busy day for the back four for the Jaffas. Yes, no doubt. Good news is the injured player back to his feet. He's just pointing at a spot on the ground, so I think he's just got the dreaded sniper treatment, unfortunately, Butts. So, and again, one of those things with a little bit of, chopped up surface, especially as the grass starts to take back over it. You don't see those divots. You had a turn out of one of them and all of a sudden the knee or the ankle catches. Probably don't need to preach to you about those sorts of things at the moment.
No, I know all about it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, something you can't be concerned about when you're out there playing, but it's definitely something to be aware of. And you can only imagine as the game goes on that it's just going to tear up a little bit, especially with the reserve grade game playing beforehand.
And speaking of that reserve grade game, it was a good win for the Jaffas. They 1-1 early in the first half and put in 2 goals in the ensuing 20 or so minutes to lead 3-1, and that's how they sealed it. It's a really good quality for a reserve grade fixture, actually watching that as we waited for this one, as Langlois gets an opportunity. Feeds it wide for Oates. He'll play it back. Denellen's there. Feeds it into the middle for Bond. Bond does well to bring it down, but again, Elkington's there to clean up. Now they're advancing forward, Azzurri. Elkington there. Denellen gets a boot in. Oates and Elkington go toe-to-toe. Oates comes out and strides away. Puts the ball into the middle. Kirihara's there. Bond. Will he take a strike from range? He does. Well parried. Golovsky read it well and just pushed it out to the left. Good reactions from the youngster.
Yeah, positive play from the Jaffas. Great strike from Pat Bond and an equally impressive response from the young goalkeeper. And we know Pat Bond's got a rocket in him for sure. And, he's testing for the young keeper, but he's stood up to the test thus far.
See Harry Frendo back out there at the corner. Clearly still a little troubled by that stoppage, and Elkington clears that and almost buries it over Lambton High School and into McDonald Jones Stadium. I did note that when he did come off, Preston Poole's up and warming about, so if the change is required, they're ready to go there. That corner just clatters into the side netting. A little too tight of an angle driven by Newton. We touched on Bailey Newton before and the impact that he's had coming back in, but the fact that Jaffas have been able to not only bring him back, but bring back Carter Smith as well, that gives you some, I guess, the Jaffas some punch from the bench as well, but 2 really talented footballers who are both very dangerous in that attacking third. Coming back in mid-season is always handy. Yeah,
100%, and I'm excited to see Carter Smith off the bench today. I hope he gets some minutes. I haven't seen him play yet in the Jaffas colours, but yeah, it just gives us a little bit more depth up front as well, and it's good to have. We'll see how this plays out.
Nice little touch around from Newton. Hustling against Hull.
Yeah, it's good to have options up front. Especially, as I said, in a side that we've struggled to find goals at the moment, we need to try and find some answers. So, I think we're still trying to find combinations and trying to find how things are going to work out.
When you talk about that depth, I might come back then one sec. Comes forward for Kirihara. What about that, putting your body on the line, Kieran Hayes? Norton comes forward and, it's apparent that, the amount of injuries, unavailabilities, obviously this week, no Tom Waller, no Matt Cale, players that can play, quite aggressively through that, sort of towards that attacking third, having that extra depth. I mean, David Tenchevsky, if he can get, everyone back on the park's going to have some real headaches in terms of how he fits everyone, not just into 11, but into 16.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got a pretty filled out squad for this time of the season as well. You see the bench is filled today, and as you mentioned, we've got a couple of boys unavailable at the moment, so it's a good headache to have.
Certainly is. It's certainly better than the opposite headache of trying to patch together an 11 and blooding multiple young guys together who might be maybe knocking on the door, but it's never ideal to be bringing 2 or 3 of them in, or having to in the lead up when windows are open, trying to scramble to find players to bring in.
Yeah, well, it could be massively important as well during this time of the season. We've got so many games, a backlog of games coming up. If you do have a team riddled with injuries at this point, you've only got more games to come.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really testing season, this next month of football for all the clubs. You see, the points between 3rd to 10th, Chris, is so close. The fight for finals is definitely on. And, we talked about it pre-game. It's a 6-point game today for both clubs.
And it's certainly going to be a volume. So even just load management without injuries is Ben Kennedy. He exploded off that calf okay then. Exploded might have been a bit generous. But even the load management piece, when you're playing multiple games, as some of these teams are playing 3 games in 8 days, 4 in 14, these sorts of things over the next little period. Then you look at the likes of Western and Cooks Hill. They've got Australia Cup, which the draw will happen on Wednesday night, so I don't know who they're playing as Archie Finn. I'm not quite sure how he thought he was going to get away with that. He tried his luck, though. And then they're going to have the State Cup final as well. All these sorts of things. There's plenty of football for a lot of these sides. There's going to be some very congested times, which, having a deep squad, as you say, is going to be crucial to being able to make sure you maintain your position as well, not just getting through those games.
Yeah, of course. And, S&Cs and physios as well.
Lofted off the boot, deep and back, and then sliding in and parried across the line.
Corner, says the referee.
Yeah, it must have been a deflection off that off the Jaffas defender who was just there. Archie Finn that was right near him. He finds himself in everything at the moment. No, that's Finn on the goal line. So
it was a lofting ball to the back stick. Looked like nothing was doing, but they've got a result out of it. See if Matt Hall can produce a bit of a better ball than his last corner.
So he's getting plenty of revolution on the ball. That last one dipped as well. So see what he sort of challenges he can create here. This one hooked into the front post, headed away though. Probably much more in the area that they're looking for Azzurri as it goes into the box and it bounces away to the right of the goals. Ben Kennedy glancing over at the assistant referee looking for an offside flag, but it didn't matter. I feel like it's just the tempo's just probably eased off a touch now from these two sides. As we said, they came out of the gates hard and half an hour in now. A little bit warmer than a couple of days we've had recently, and as much as it's only in the high teens to early 20s, it's still warm once you get tearing about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, definitely. I think 30 minutes into the game now, and you'd say both teams are pretty evenly poised. There's been half chances from both clubs. Definitely has settled down a little bit now. Chancey.
So that Newton feeds it in. Oates couldn't quite get it away, and that was well recovered by Joyce just to come in and close down that shooting lane because it looked like he was going to have almost a one-on-one shot with the keeper. Frendo does well. He appears to have recovered from that knock before. Feeds it out. That's Harry Frendo. Feeds it out to Jackson Frendo. The brothers come behind. Now a nice little spin move by Bond, but doesn't direct it well. Finn comes in hard. Bond comes in even harder. Referee says play on. They feed it through. Bailey Newton coming forward. Bolovski's there. Gets it off the outside of the right. Doesn't get as much of it as he might have liked. And now Lambton fighting tooth and nail. Frendo ends up on the ground. Finn comes away with it. Gets sandwiched. Ball comes out. Kirihara's on the deck. There's bodies on the deck everywhere. Play on, says the referee. And then had someone go through Finn on the ground. Now tempers start to explode. I was going to say, once you get a few bodies on the ground, something tends to go wrong. And we had 3 of them on the ground there in one little bit of traffic, and then a couple of Charlestown players came through.
Well, yeah, Chris, you just said the game's just started to settle, and I think it's just picked up again another 2 notches.
As Reen Ferguson having a little chat with the referee, and look, to be fair, I don't know there was that much in this, and I'm just trying to work out who this is that's getting called out. Is it Hayes? And all that's happened here is he's just gone through the player who's on the ground. Like, he was just trying to run. I think he had eyes for the ball, but he absolutely collected him. And he's still trying to argue. It's Cousins, sorry.
Yeah, again, I think well refereed. Cards stay in the pocket.
As I said, there didn't look to be a lot of malice in it. It was just reactionary stuff. Everyone was just had eyes for the football and fighting hard. But when bodies collide like that, then the referee does eventually need to step in. And a dangerous chance here. Newton drifts it in towards the back post, and Topple Stanley flies high, but the ball flew higher over the crossbar.
Yeah, it's a better delivery from Bailey Newton. Good area, and well received from Topper. He probably would have wanted to do a little bit better on that one.
Such an imposing target to have on those set pieces. He's just so hard. Doesn't matter how big your defenders are, to have him matching up, and especially because he can, that acceleration he's got over sort of 5 to 10 yards. Just hit those balls. Times it so well with all that experience. Bolovski again just driving this hard and low. Langlois heads it forward. Oates rushing after him. He's like a greyhound after the rabbit. Denellen flying around the outside. Cuts back in. Gets a nice little touch on for Oates. Oates can't quite control it though. That's some high pace, high intensity football there. The two of them are like a pair of greyhounds out on that right side. They've got some toe about them and they just like to run.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, Sam traditionally being a forward player as well. Any opportunity he gets the ball at his feet, he wants to run, especially with space ahead of him.
Right down by Langlois. Now here's Oates again, feeding it in. I think a little heavier than Finn was expecting. Finn ends up on the deck again. Now Joyce heads it forward. They slice it out to the right. Cousins, a heavy touch. Manages to retrieve it. Now Hoole. Inside. Looked like it came off the hand of Krakenthorpe, as did certainly the Charlestown bench thought. The referee happy with it though, and in a better position than us to call it. Ball fed down the line now. This time it's Oates providing for Denellen. Oates pulls back, thinks about winding up and lobbing it into the box. Side's better of it. Kirihara. Langlois feeds it out to Denellen again. A little heavy the touch, and it goes across the sideline. And Frendo down again, so it looks like we will go for a change, and it will actually be Reece McManus. Again, as I talked about before, McManus is one of those that's got a cluster of goals to his name. 4 goals from his 12 games. Son of former Newcastle defender, Todd McManus.
Yeah, Frendo with his ankle strapped up. Unfortunately, his day comes to an end. Like-to-like replacement, though. Wishing it's not too sinister for Frendo.
Yeah, I hope not. He's a key piece of this Azzurri attack, and you never like to see players go down with injury. His right leg, though, looking like something out of the mummy returns. The amount of tape he had on it, it didn't look like he was likely going to be able to play through the 90. Now all of a sudden Azzurri go on the attack, and here's McManus free and open on the edge of the 18-yard box. Can he thread a shot? Gets it down to Ben Kennedy, who parries it away with the right hand. And I'll tell you what, we might have had some questions about that calf before, but you can't question his reflexes.
Yeah, great save. Really positive play from Charlestown there, and he goes straight down to McManus, his first touch of the game. And it was a good strike, in all fairness to him. Equal response from Ben Kennedy, and you'd probably say one of the better chances of the game for sure.
It's definitely up there. Be interesting, you know, a little bit of fresh legs in the last 7.5 minutes this half. And all of a sudden it's headed past him. The throw in and on, and it's an opening goal for Azzurri. I was just going to say, as a few tired legs happen, mistakes will occur, and Azzurri get the opening goal. Regan Lundy gets that one for Charlestown. And all of a sudden, it was a forced change, but it's just sparked Charlestown to life, Matt Butner.
Yeah, immediate impact off the bench. And you mentioned it before the game or during the start of the game that Charlestown have that long throw-in as well. And that's probably the first time we've seen it this game. And it's immediate effect. Little deflection, but then that second header, they're just so live wire and ready to it. That's what Charlestown have got, and it's 1-0. We cracked the deadlock right now. There's 7 minutes remaining in this half. See if Jaffas can respond.
Certainly going to need to find something here. Topple Stanley fighting tooth and nail. Referee says play on. Cousins into the box. Can they double the lead? Threads it past. It goes to the back post. Ferguson almost taps it home. But a goal line save. Saves another blemish for the Jaffas. Ben Kennedy is incensed. He's out talking to the referee here. He's normally reasonably composed, BK, but he wasn't really happy with that challenge on Topple Stanley.
Yeah, I didn't have an amazing sight on that one, but it all unfolded very quickly. It could have easily been 2-0 within a matter of seconds there. I think it was Pat Bond just off the line there. It almost looked like it was a goal for all money.
Yeah, I think Ryan Ferguson would have liked to have that again. He didn't really put a lot of sauce on it. He could have a little more heat. Here comes that long throw again into the box. Cousins getting up, falls down after Cousins manages to get in between Kennedy and the ball, but it's cleared somewhat. It's still there. Hoole heads it forward. Headed on again. Now Krakenthorpe sees it away from goal somewhat. Elkington's in there. Frendo Kennedy out to it, spill. Fortunately, it's a Jaffas boot that gets hold of it. I'll tell you what, there's been plenty of theatre, plenty of missteps, plenty of bodies on the ground, and plenty of chances. It's been an enthralling opening 40 minutes. Yeah, Elkington gets the head forward. Dunellen hacks it away. Newton retreats and retrieves. Krakenthorpe to Langlois. Newton on. Krakenthorpe overlapping on the outside. Cuts back in. Looks for a lane to continue the attack. And again, Elkington drives it over the sideline.
One thing I know about Charlestown, Chris, is a lot of teams, when they score a goal, they tend to, calm down a little bit, settle, be a little bit more comfortable on the ball. Charlestown feed off their goals, and you can see a little bit more vocal even on the bench as well. It's definitely a bit of energy that's come through the veins of the Charlestown players.
Krakenthorpe, McManus. That might be more appropriate close contact for the change rooms later, boys. Play was about to spark up, and then all of a sudden, young Oscar's just there and decides to help him up.
I think you saw the referee running over and decided I might take it a little bit easier. I don't want to guard.
I'm enjoying just watching Nikolai Topol-Stanley's reaction to some of it. He's just having a giggle at the boys up there having a wrestle. He's enjoying it.
He's seen it all before.
He's a little wiser. He knows not to waste his energy on that sort of stuff. If he's going to get heated up and involved in something, it's going to be worthwhile. Ball comes along. Falls the boots of Ferguson. Topol-Stanley, there he is with the header. Cousins gets inside Newton. Elkington back to Cousins. Poole chips it forward for Ferguson. McNaughton out positions him. The clearance not effective from Dunellen. Sits up again. Topol-Stanley and Ferguson just going toe-to-toe. That's a great battle and well worth the price of admission by itself. Kirihara somehow managed to slide out of that and spin out of another one and keep the ball. Krakenthorpe's going to drive it long. Looking for Oates. Joyce gets to it. Finn. Joyce comes around and takes it away. Still gets a boot to it.
Yeah, well played from Joyce there. Used his body really well, recovered behind Archie Finn, and wins a free kick in a heated moment. We've got three minutes remaining plus additional time, and we talk so much, Chris, about how important it is fatigue and heading into those final minutes of the half. It's going to be really interesting to see how both clubs approach this. Set pieces, if Charlestown will be a bit more reserved, or they want to look for the kill and go for a double before half time.
You can imagine going in at 2-0. I mean, you've been inside that Lambton camp, and everyone inside the Lambton camp knows that goals have been the challenge, and going in at 2-0, that'll be a big mental blow. If they could go in at 1-0, it's a din. If they could go in at 1-1, though, there's massive magnitudes of momentum difference, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And again, as a team like Charlestown, if you give them 2 goals, it's very hard to come back.
Certainly it is. Newton gets around and parried across the sideline by Kieran Hayes. Krakenthorpe races forward. Langlois back in the pocket. Kirihara's there. Feeds it through though. Bond.
Tidy feet from Bond.
Does well, and even though he'd been fouled, rather than appeal to the referee just to try to continue on the attack from the ground. Gets the whistle. Another dangerous set piece here. Unsurprisingly, you'll see McNaughton and Topol-Stanley push up to the back of the 18-yard box where they can advance forward at the ball. You've got Finn there as well.
Yeah, Newton will be, hoping for a similar delivery to last time as well. Give the Jaffas half a chance.
Similar delivery, a header over rather than under from Topor, and away we go. And we know the delivery that Newton can produce. We saw that. They've got a few options there. They've got Finn. He's moved forward a little shorter now. Topol-Stanley, as I said. McNaughton will sweep round the back. Got Kirihara short as well. And I'll have the second wave from Dunellen. And it's a fake for Langlois. Feeds it to the back post, just a little wide. Not sure if he was setting that up for a shot or whether it was trying to drift it right tight to that back post for an advancing runner in Finn.
We had good line of sight there. It looked like it had beat the keeper, but also beat every player as well.
Unfortunately for the Jaffas, it just beat the post. On the wrong side. Inside the last 30 seconds once this is taken. And we'll be at the referee's discretion for added time. And long clearing kick from Volovsky. All heads it forward. Langlois chips it out in front of Oates. He's got the break on the defence. Can he continue to maintain possession? He does. Little step over, cut back towards his defence. Turns, lofts it well, but there's no one beyond the back post, and Volovsky just calmly rolls out and takes it one-handed off the deck. Volovsky underneath this one. McManus with an air swing with a header. Top of Stanley and Ferguson going toe-to-toe. Ferguson gets a boot to it, plays it back to McManus, who pirouettes and loses it off the back of his heel. Krakenthorpe looks to keep things moving quickly here as we go into stoppage time. Goes long with the header. Cleared back towards the attack for Hayes. Ferguson and Topple Stanley tangled up. Might be the nicest way of putting it. Kennedy takes it and plays it out to McNaughton, who goes on a run. He's got space in front of him and he wants to take it on. Engages the first, plays it out now for Donnellan, who's outside and deep in attack. He tries to play it for Oates. Oates and Joyce go toe-to-toe. Joyce bounces off. Oates comes away with possession. Tries to turn Joyce inside out. Bond's there to help him out. Joyce comes away with the ball, though. And got answers to most of the Jaffas questions to Azzurri so far. Now McNaughton lofts it into the box, looking for Finn. He can't get ahead to it. Newton's there. Poole comes out and wins out, and Newton ends up on the deck. Topple Stanley drives it back. Bond, a little deflection. Finn. Kirihara trying to make a run. Finn dispossessed. And now Charlestown think about a late counter-attack. Lundy, the goal scorer, decides better of it and turns back the other. Happy just to see away some time, and we'll push it across the sideline with a player down on the deck. That's Joyce. Not what you're wanting to see if you're James Pascal at the moment, Butts. You've already had one forced change. Obviously, you've got the benefit that you can come to half-time, so you won't need to use a rotation if it is an injury, but hopefully nothing too serious for Cameron Joyce, because that battle between him and Pat Bond out on the left of Azzurri's defence has been really one to watch.
Yeah, of course. He's back on his feet now, but Joyce has probably been one of their better performers today. Better performance for the season as well. Very consistent. Good out on that left side. A little knock. Potentially just trying to see out the half as well. Wouldn't be long now.
No, I think we just... the signal from the fourth official, just about 1 minute or so to go here. So Charlestown happy to play it back to Volovsky. He'll take his time. I'll tell you what, I've been impressed with the young goalkeeper today. He hasn't had too many huge asks of him, but the couple of times he has been called to action, he has been without fault. Interesting to see how he goes in the second half. He's going to have that sun in his eyes. It's always one of the challenging pieces here at Arthur Eden. Southern end keeper. Jaffas go to Krakenthorpe. Does well to just cut back inside McManus, and he's got a little bit of space. Plays it on. Kirihara's there. Can they come up with a late blow, the Jaffas here? Newton into the box. Headed away for the time being by Hayes. Langlois, I'm not quite sure what he was looking to execute there. And it's going to race away despite the efforts of Pat Bond over the sideline. That was one that Joey Langlois would love to have again.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what Joey was going for there. I thought he was looking for the top corner, but he's found the sideline.
I think he was trying to curl it off the inside of the right and found the outside of the right instead, and it went in the opposite direction. And that's pretty much, how I go when I kick any football. Always aim one way and it ends up the other. The referee's whistle goes for half-time, and Azzurri have been smart, they've been sharp, and they were clinical when the chance presented. Exactly what you'd expect for a side chasing top four security. Butts, what's Lambton going to need to shift to turn this one around?
Yeah, look, again, evenly poised game. Game of moments, I think. But they have to rely on the boys on the bench. You have to have X factor off the bench, and you have to have guys that know their role and got to come on and execute. And the goals have been minimal this season, and they need to find them and find them quick.
They certainly do. They're not without their chances so far, Jaffas, but Azzurri are the ones that took the one that mattered. It was Regan Lundy with a goal deep into the first half, and it is Charlestown Azzurri.
that's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good. yeah, that's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good.
Welcome back to Arthur Eden Oval, round 15 NPL match of the round. So round 16, I'm a week behind myself, Matt Buettner, Chris McPherson and Matt Buettner here calling the Lambton Jaffas. I'm off to a flying start for the second half. And Charlestown Azzurri, match of the round. We're about to get back underway. We've had changes for both sides and we'll just try and recap what those are. Carter Smith on for the Jaffas. Oh, is that Preston Poole? I think he's come on for Azzurri. Just having a look. Looks like Archie Finn, the man that's made way for Lambton. And Joyce.
Chance here.
There's a chance here. Regan Lundy looking to double up. Ben Kennedy blocks the shot, though. Tyron Cousins absolutely clatters into Riley McNaughton, and unsurprisingly, the yellow card. I think if he had just collided with him, but he extended the arm and sort of pushed out.
Yeah, maybe the referee making a statement early in this second half as well, showing the card. And that coming out of nowhere as well. Quick play down the left side and an early chance for Charlestown. Jaffas a little bit of sleep coming out of the sheds, but yeah, like you said, 2 changes. It looks like Joyce come off as well. Preston Poole into the left back.
The concerning thing for Preston Poole is I don't know what's happened to him, but he's limping already.
He's got a little limp on him. I've
My
noticed
goodness,
that.
there's players dropping like flies.
He's not looking all too well at the moment. We'll see how he plays out. But yeah, Carter Smith on, as he said, for Jaffas. Archie Finn, good first half stint.
Smith still got that strike taken. That only just went over the crossbar.
Wow.
Langlois with an absolute bomb. You obviously heard us having a bit of a chuckle at his effort right at the end of the first half and said, I'll show these boys, I'll sneak this one under the crossbar.
Oh yeah, we'll laugh about that later, but hey, that was much better from Joey, just whispering off, I wouldn't say the crossbar, was very close to it though. Little layoff from Carter Smith and a very good chance. I think if the game is anything like the first half, Chris, we're in for like, a good quality half, especially with the importance of this match for both sides.
So now Ferguson comes in and collides with Oates. The referee says play on. Lundy tries to turn it inside out. Cousins and McNaughton come together. I'm really not sure watching Tyron Cousins. He looks like he likes to be playing the villain. There's nothing even happening there. The referee just calling a throw in and he's turning around asking questions saying what? And I'm like... I think he likes being in that contest. There's some players that are like that, isn't there?
Some players feed off it, and some players embrace it, and I think he's one of them. And he's got the stature to play that role as well. I don't think I could play villain if I'm on the pitch, but he definitely can.
No, he's big, he's physical, he's impactful. We know he's got a boot on him as well. And yeah, again, if that's the role, and look, those sorts of roles get bums on seats too. We know that, so people love to come and watch them. For both sides of it, either to cheer them or cheer against them. So we're all for the characters of the game. There's Newton now. Newton and Hull come together and at pinballs, and the referee says the last touch was off Bailey Newton. I think you're right too, the way you're talking before. Like this game, and we talked at half-time in the break about it wasn't that there was a huge disparity in chances. Charlestown just really had that little bit more X factor's not quite what I'm looking for, but just that little bit more punch at the last line, and they had those couple of tricks up their sleeve, the long throw, and it came to fruition. And Jaffas not that far behind. It's just about finding that end execution, which we saw Langlois come so close to just before. McNaughton plays it down the line, and here's Oates. He's looked dangerous, everything he's been involved in so far. Finds Newton at the back post, but cleared away by Hayes. Topple Stanley misreads the bounce, and Ferguson up there and racing after it. Denellen filling in.
Just on that one, Chris, I feel like Charlestown have got the jack in the box. They can pull something out of nothing. And again, we saw the goal. It was, I wouldn't say it was out of nothing, but it was the first long throw, right? Like, how many goals get scored off a long throw? Generally, as like a defensive side, if you're not switched on to something like that, you can get punished, and that was the first time they showed it this game, and they got a result out of it.
Certainly some interesting exchanges between Tyron Cousins there and the Lambton bench. Continuing on as Smith brings it down. Oates gets forward, gets around Verity, but the ball just trails away down that slight decline that sits at the sideline here at Arthur Eden. Canberra of the ground.
Verity thus far has had a good start to the game as well, stepping into a pretty crucial role for Taylor Egan this weekend, and they stood up to the challenge. It's been a good battle, him and Archie Finn in the first half as well, but he stuck to his guns, a couple of good tackles.
Certainly did, and undoubtedly, as defenders are wont to do, he'll view that change as a win in the personal battle. Now he's got a slightly different proposition, a little bit less physical, probably a little bit more mobile in Carter Smith. Certainly they don't lose anything in the height stakes, Lambton, by bringing Smith on for Finn. I was touching on before, just before Langlois shot a little earlier. Smith, that hamstring sleeve from the hamstring issue earlier in the season when he was at Valentine, and as he takes a shot and it gets a little deflection on the way through, to not enough of a deflection to get it anywhere near anything, but it will be a corner over on the far side there. So this might be a first test with the sun in his eyes for young Jordan Volovsky.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it proved difficult for Ben Kennedy, but there was definitely moments where it proved an issue.
Just adds a little bit of complexity to an already challenging role. And coming in, curling it. Plenty of slice on it. Up at the back post is Ferguson. Falls for Kirihara. Taken away now, driven wide and long. Denellen chasing after. Ferguson racing out. And Volovsky calls it calmly and confidently and out and takes it. Headed on by Cousins here. Lundy getting to the outside. McNaughton. Probably the best described clumsy challenge as he played into the box. Denellen gets a boot to it. Tyron Cousin nearly managed to do the splits. McNaughton gets the ball and comes away with it. Appeal from Charlestown, but the referee right on top of it and got that one right. Kirihara. I thought he was going to go after his own ball there, but Newton came in. Nice touch back inside as it bobbles up. Takes a shot from range. Bailey Newton. He caught everyone unawares, but it wasn't on target.
Yeah, definitely had a bit of fizz about that. A good strike. Positive play right to left from the Jaffas, and again, maybe a moment of transition as well, as we spoke earlier. I think it's going to prove of importance as the game goes on for both sides.
Just a little update there on Isaac Preston-Poole. He looks like he's back to 90% of a normal gait. Still a slight. It's almost like it's his hip the way he's walking. Ferguson with a little header. Denellen can't clear it. Pat Bond trying unsuccessfully to sell ice to Eskimos there. Preston-Poole will take the throw. Looking for an open target. He's about going back. Elkington's there presenting. Cousins calls for it to the head. Ferguson comes around. Elkington's there. Kirihara and Elkington tangled up. Ball spits out. Cousins gets it. Sits it for Ferguson wide. Cross it into the box. It falls friendly at the far post for McManus, but he had his back to goal, and now Newton comes away. It's a little tap on looking for Langlois, but Frendo gets a boot in and parries it across the sideline. Besides using the full expanse of the pitch at the moment, Butts, they're certainly happy to play some wide-ranging football, but that probably touches on what you're talking about before. That bobble through the middle especially, that they're just trying to find some avenues where they're not just hitting and hoping over the top.
Yeah, you haven't seen a whole lot of play through the middle. Like you said, trying to exploit the width on both teams. Bailey Newton in a good space now.
Just lost his footing there, I think, as he tried to cross that and couldn't get any real punch on it. Topple Stanley and Ferguson. I like watching those two old stages go head-to-head, purely because when one of them gets into the other one, there's no appeals to the referee, there's nothing else. It's just, right, you got one on me, I'll come back and get one on you a little bit later. Bond. Oates dropping it back to McNaughton. He's got time and space, and he's happy to take all of the time. He's not taking too much of the space just yet. Now he accelerates. Weighs it out. Denellen looks to see if Kirihara's run opens anything. Oates taps it on for Kirihara. There's a little touch back inside, and Pat Bond has put that into next week. New South Wales could have used some of that in the Origin the other night. It was straight over the crossbar.
Straight over the sticks, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Pat Bond for Origin 3.
Pat Bond for Origin 3. Where are you playing him?
On the wing.
On the wing? I was going to say, tell us how much love you've got for Pat Bond if you send him in the middle against Tino and Mo Fodawaker.
Like who for? Toto or Lomax? I'm not sure.
I reckon Pat Bond's got some Brian Toto energy about him. Lofted forward by Oates. Verity drives it to Frendo. Frendo out-muscles Oates. Hits it off the outside of the right. Manus racing across there. Wants to play it down the line, but there's no one to play it to. Topple Stanley. Elkington gets in the way.
He's very good at the clean-up play, Elkington, for sure.
He very much plays like that, just that sort of sweeper in front of the back line, doesn't he? Just coming and picking up the crumbs before they need to deal with it. Dunellen. Did have to laugh just before. I overheard some commentary. I think Ferguson was asking where they wanted him to place on one of the attacking plays. They'd probably talked about at half-time and who he was supposed to be sitting inside. And the commentary from the bench was the 15, the Milky Bar kid, talking about Sam Dunellen. So
the Milky Bar.
I like it when it's just like a humorous nickname that's not so offensive. So
no, that's good.
I'm sure Sam Dunellen doesn't want that to stick, but that's when nicknames do stick.
Of course.
You can take that back to Jaffas, mates, and give it a work over, see how it goes.
Yeah, I like that one. I really do.
In the meantime, a set piece for the Jaffas, another corner. Joe Langlois taking it. Plenty of height options. Topple Stanley and Smith, the two biggest targets. Newton just sneaking about. When they look to drift it to, Topple Stanley takes a mark. Getting all the codes coming today. The ball was well over the byline, and he just thought, I'll catch this, save it going too far.
Yeah, Joey probably wouldn't be too happy with that delivery, unfortunately. And like you said, there's enough tall timber in there to give it a half chance. So, it's definitely a threat there for both sides. Like I said, the set piece in the corner.
Wolski doesn't quite get hold of that one. Spins away. I'm very intrigued by some of the reactionary calls from the benches at times. There's things that have been much more physical and probably testing the laws. That one, a little nudge as Oates goes into the box and it spills back out. Jimmy Oates gets a yellow card for it. I think Reen Ferguson was the one who humorously suggested it might have been a red card. I said the old stages have got a bit of humour about them, Matty.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Jimmy thought there was much in that at all, but I mean, just the pace of it, so quick, I guess a little bit dangerous. It's the second card of the game, and something tells me there's going to be a little bit more, Chris, as the game, goes on. It's definitely getting a little bit more physical, but like I said, both teams are physical and drive off it.
Opportunity here, Dunellen. Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised if there was a bit of a chat with the officials in the half-time break just to say that while it was well managed in the first half, if it does continue as frustrations build in a tight contest, it could, be sparks in a powder keg. So we saw it early. Just another one there. Just those ones are a little bit more overly forceful, overly impactful. Just stepping in. I think, again, they're doing a good job of just managing the tempers and the energies as this is crossed into the box. And Lundy's there open. He just couldn't control it down. Cousins. I thought he was going to try and get around for a bicycle, kick the big unit there.
Yeah, the press was rewarded then. High pressure from Charlestown on the back line. Topper just losing the ball a little bit too easily, and they tried to hit early with the cross. Now they're going to enjoy a spell of possession now. The game's probably starting to settle down again, as you said. Both teams come out of the gates a little bit cagey, a little bit physical, but Charlestown can enjoy a bit of possession now.
Happy to work it around, try and see what lane's open. Carter Smith's going to try and pop up and clog those. Just not allow them to play in that design that they want to. Preston Poole waving about, trying to get the ball wide. They come this way. Verity now sends it across. Oates needs to be cautious there. Little no-look turning touch. Dunellen and Preston Poole fighting hard. McNaughton breaks it up. Preston Poole takes a shot over the crossbar. Right idea. Just a little lower would have been nice if you're an Azzurri fan.
Yeah, positive play from Preston Poole on the left flank, and got away with a couple of little 50-50s on the sideline here. Credit to his hustle, and got a good strike away just over the bar.
Yeah, Dunellen parried across.
He's got that limp again.
As soon as he hit that ball, yeah. As soon as he seems to have to put in a run or an effort, I'll tell you what, shows what I know, because I thought it looked like his hip and now he's holding his shin. So probably don't come and see me. I'm about as useful as Dr. Nick Riviera from The Simpsons for medical symptoms. Cousins throws himself in at a rate of knots. Lingua. Good strong tackle, but Bond comes back in. A cluster of officials in front of us making it challenging. Kirihara plays it wide and fed into the box, but deflected again by who else but Jethro Elkington. Now they come away, Topor Stanley. Ferguson.
Good use of the body.
Showing his experience there against Krakenthorpe. Denellen up against Lundy. There's a wall of yellow retreating though. Lundy collides with Langlois. Appeals for a free, but none given. Now Cousins with a little bit of space on the outside. Chips it in. Undercooks it this time, and Norton deals with it easily. Oates. Jimmy Oates tries to sell that it was his throw in there. He almost got away with it too, taking it quickly. I think a few of the Lambton players are a little frustrated that a foul wasn't given as Cousins shadowed him. James Pascoe just having a few words with Tyron Cousins, maybe just suggesting that he might need to just tread carefully.
I think so.
Good opportunity. It was right in front of the bench. Good chance for the coaches to grab him and reassure him. Sometimes that's the biggest part of the role of the coach, isn't it? That man management piece is Preston Poole.
I can imagine it's quite crucial for this side as well. You know, a lot of the players have got a lot of character about them as well. So it would be man managing.
Ball threaded forward, but Wolowski will take it. Yeah, as you say, yeah, they're very much a team that plays on that momentum and emotion and energy, which is, you know, more than fine. It's the passion that we like to see, but it just needs to be channeled, and if it bursts out of that channel, that's when things can start to come unravelled quickly. Charlestown, no stranger to some of those players. I mean, you know, it's only a couple of years ago they had the illustrious Lubo Milosevic playing there. He's probably the epitome of that as this goes in, and Volofsky easily deals it, just parries it down and dives on it. And Preston Poole is going to make way after a very short stint, I think. Jared Sutherland will go in. It's going to be frustrating as a coach when you've had two forced changes due to injury inside the first hour of a game.
Yeah, and your second one didn't even start the game as well.
He was a half-time change. And he's been uncomfortable the whole time he's been out there. Just feel for him, because obviously if he knew that there was something that wasn't right, he wouldn't have gone out. His Cousins goes forward and Oates decides to try and hold his hand. Elkington, Preston Poole, Cousins, Elkington again. Cousins a heavy touch. Let's wait for the change to come. Is it coming? Is it not? It is coming. A little bit of confusion there. I think a few of us thought it was happening and others weren't sure. I think Preston Poole's going to walk it all the way down to halfway to come off.
It'll be interesting to see who slots into that left-back role, though. Jared Sutherland, more of an attacking player, of course.
The referee decides that he wasn't having Isaac Preston Poole walking all the way down the sideline, just inside it, and just to step over the sideline. Which led to some animation from the Charlestown official. Passions are rolling high here. Both sides know what's on the line here at Arthur Eden Oval in round 16.
Looks like Jared Sutherland has rolled into that, you know, traditional 10 role, and then Cousins has gone back to left back at the moment.
Jared Sutherland coming off the bench, number 27, Isaac Preston Poole.
Yeah, well, Cousins is happy to run with the ball at his feet, and he's undoubtedly a physical presence, as we know, so it covers ground well. Probably the when you look at it on reflection, it makes a lot of sense. Oates to Bond. Bond tries to loft it forward. Cousins breaks it up, feeds it forward, looking for Sutherland for his first touch. Broken up by Langlois, and then Elkington going forward. McNaughton pokes it back, but Ben Kennedy not ready for that, and it was well away from him. And instead of what should have probably just been a retreat by the goalkeeper, we're going to have a corner here. That's a bit of a blemish for Lambton.
Just not on the same page there, unfortunately, Chris. Riley McNaughton just passing the ball blind, expecting Ben Kennedy to be there. And yeah, they got a good opportunity here, Charlestown. Matt Hall on the delivery as well, and again, tall timber for Charlestown also. They've been a threat all year and in previous years as well from a set piece, so they'd like to extend their lead.
Cousins coming from the back of the pack, you'd suggest. Sutherland looking to present for the short corner. Comes up, headed away by Oates. Kirihara drops it down, but a sliding effort from Verity. Newton recovers. Clubbed forward. Smith is there. He's got a step on the defence. He's got Oates in the box, but overcooks it. Not completely dealt with, though. Newton's back. Wide for Krakenthorpe. He takes a shot. Comes off a defender. Poole brings it to ground and then toes it forward, and it'll spin away over the sideline, almost right on halfway. Sam Donnell wastes no time in getting us moving again.
Lockie Griffiths getting ready for Jaffas as well. It'll be interesting to see who they take off in the front line.
Carter Smith gets up above the pack there. Kirihara, no vertical effort on his run through. Now Oates tries to feed it back in, but it's intercepted and dealt with. Ferguson spins it wide. Frendo Langlois, clinical tackle. Big shove on Oates. Referee says play on. He's playing advantage. Kirihara dispossessed, and we're going to come back for the foul. Bailey Newton coming off. Solid stint, just hasn't been able to get that last pass quite on target.
Yeah, good stint, and you know, Griffo coming on now. They both offer, you know, different things. I think Griffo's a bit more of a live wire, a bit more electric. Probably hoping with fresh legs to produce a bit more execution as well, and try to get some sort of final product up front.
I feel it's not that far away. If they could grab one, it's a funny game, as we talked about earlier, of momentum. Sliced out the back. A little bit of push and shove in the box after that ball spins away. Verity and Oates, and then a little hug afterwards. That's what we like to see.
He's been going to the backspin delivery, Joey Langlois, a fair bit today, which is a bit interesting, especially from that position. You would think he'd be putting in a bit more of an in-swinger, trying to test the keeper as well. Especially with that,
you know, we've talked about the young keeper in Volofsky. He's obviously been close to faultless so far. But, yeah, you think you want to try and just, you know, make him make some decisions, because decisions lead to indecision or incorrect decisions. Yeah,
of course. Well, I mean, as a keeper, as the game goes on, you grow into the game, and he's definitely done that. You know, he's been faultless thus far. His execution's been great, and he's been tested a handful of times, but nothing too serious. Ball put forward and a foot race looking for Lundy. Donnell in there, much better back pass this time. Tell you what, Milky Bar Kid's probably not the man you want to take on in a foot race. And he's got a fair bit of toe about him. Yeah, definitely. Now it played back to Kennedy. Better communication this time from the Jaffas. Top off Stanley. Topo hasn't had a lot of involvement in recent exchanges. Bond drives it into the back of Frendo. Top of Stanley again. Now that I've said he hasn't been involved, we get a handful of touches. Krakenthorpe for Donnell, here he comes. He's got Oates in the box, plays it in for him. Well cleaned up. Hayes drifting back with Verity, and they just closed that down. It looked like one of the best chances thus far for the Jaffas, but instead it will just amount for a corner, which will be taken by Shisuke Kirihara. Yeah, crucial intervention from both centre-backs for Charlestown. Definitely some urgency there getting back. They knew the importance of that. And it was a good little breakaway sweeping move left to right. Sam Donnellan, again, traditional right winger, come to right back, and any opportunity he gets, he's gonna try and break forward.
Kirihara drives it in, leaves it short. Spills friendly for Topple Stanley to almost get to it, but Hull got a touch. Smith into a defender, and Volovsky comes out and grabs it. Great decision making.
Again, you'd say a poor delivery, Chris. It's not really putting it in the money area.
To be fair, neither side's been great on the corners and set pieces, have they? It's just left you a little wanting, I think. Both had plenty of good attacking opportunities from corner and dangerous area set pieces. Kirihara appealing for handball against Hull, but the referee says no, and the ball spills forward, and Reen Ferguson decides better of trying to chase it. McNaughton's here with the ball at his feet, drives it wide. Off target though. He's having an uncharacteristically misdirected passing day so far, Riley McNaughton. Topple Stanley. Interesting here, Joe Langlois pushing out wide, trying to create a bit of an overlap and an overload on the right. And free up the likes of Donnellan and Oates as Kennedy gets underneath this one and sends it long, looking for Carter Smith. And Langlois racing down the right. Lundy trying to keep up. A little bit of miscommunication there between Lundy and Cousins. It falls into the box, chested down. Can the head come to it from Smith? Volovsky out. We're going to have a free kick against Carter Smith, I think. Referee just saying that he went through Kieran Hayes rather than around and collected him, but Carter Smith trying to argue that he's getting up for a contest for the ball.
Yeah, positive play from the Jaffas. Joey Langlois breaking away on the right side. I think a handful of the Charlestown players just got a little bit confused there, ran into each other, which left the space open for Joey. And again, that final execution, just short. Found Jimmy Oates, but not quite on the full. Not quite the delivery that he wanted, and nothing that could, you know, finish with a final product of value.
And they're getting, you feel like they're inching closer, but whether or not they're going to inch close enough during the 90 minutes is the big question here. And Ferguson, a nice header on Sutherland, buzzing about. The pocket rocket and a ball of energy as he bounced around sort of that attacking midfield region. Norton can't outmuscle Ferguson. Donnellan.
Well, he's such a handful, Ferguson, isn't he?
Kennedy, he is. Ball. Pinball's out and off, and Smith now under pressure from Cousins. Carter Smith seems puzzled by that decision, but the assistant referee confident in the call. Tyron Cousins with the throw, goes long. Headed forward by Bond. Beats a leaping Smith. Hayes, Langlois, Sutherland with a nice little touch back to himself. Drops it back and across to Hull. And plays it out wide now. McManus with work to do around the outside, decides better of coming infield instead. There's the Elkington. The referee decides to get a touch there, and he found himself in a position of no return to the referee. He couldn't go anywhere. Bodies were closing around him, as it looks like Jaffas going to the bench again here in a moment.
Riley Taylor getting readied.
He's a man that can inject some goal-scoring punch. We know what Riley can do. The sort of spark that this game could really utilise at the moment. Goal now would liven things back up. Cousins. Lundy and Donnellan deflects it. And a throw in for Azzurri. Now Ferguson does well, out-muscles McNaughton. Topple Stanley puts his boot through it. Oates brings it to ground, tries to take it around Cousins, but Cousins comes away. Switches it across now for Hull. Elkington back and Hull again, looking at options, seeing what presents. Nothing does, so he goes to Hayes. Verity going on a ranging run of his own, just slices through two defenders. Gets around one, beats another. Riley McNaughton just calmly sees that over the byline, shepherds it away.
Yeah, positive play from Verity there, and he got a little bit excited progressing forward. It's probably unfortunate to not get a result out of it. We see a change now. Taylor coming on, Kurihara off. And yeah, let's see if the impact off the bench is what the Jaffas needed. They haven't found the answers thus far, but as you just mentioned, one goal will break open this game for sure. Will make it really interesting if they can equalise and make it 1-1 heading into this, final 20 minutes or so.
And Taylor will jump on the right wing, and Oates will drop back into the centre of midfield. An attacking role that Kurihara was playing. Ball spills out. Cousins now. Taylor trying to make an immediate impact. Lofts it forward, looking for Sutherland. Sutherland sandwiched by top of Stanley McNaughton. Doesn't give up though. Norton plays it back to Kennedy, who clubs it downfield. I don't think Tyron Cousins was quite ready for that to come onto his forehead at that pace. I think he thought Taylor was going to get it. He almost wore it full in the face.
Bit of a whiplash.
Sandwiched together are the players. Lundy comes off second best and earns the foul.
Both benches getting a little bit more vocal now. Again, we know both coaches and clubs know the importance of today and the result. To slingshot them into this week and a heavy load. 4th and 6th respectively on the table. It's a matter of a couple of points between these two sides. We kind of knew it was going to be a close affair.
Certainly did, and I'll tell you what, they'll still be chasing Western. They lead 4-0 at home against New Lambton at the moment. As we head into the last 13 minutes here at Arthur Eden Oval. Oates heads it wide. Smith recovering around. Heads it forward. Lundy gets it forward. Sutherland does too. McNaughton
challenge.
Does well to get his body in there, but not give away the foul. Krakenthorpe strong. And we're going to come back for the actual foul on Krakenthorpe. And I thought the referee might have just played the advantage there, to be honest, but he's decided to bring it back. I should say both benches getting quite animated now. Kennedy drives this one long. Elkington sends it back. Topple Stanley returns it. Krakenthorpe feeds it looking for Taylor. Danillan retreats. Now Smith. Body's up against Verity. Verity's going to need to be careful here. He had hold of him. Smith just happy to play it into his back, play the percentages and take the corner.
Yeah, something out of nothing. Well played from Carter Smith. Like you said, percentage play. And yeah, they've got an opportunity here, the Jaffas. They've had a couple of different corner takers this game. Pat Bond taking it now, hoping for a better delivery.
Well, now is the time. We head towards the final 10 minutes here at Arthur Eden Oval in round 16. This match between 4th place Azzurri, 6th place Lambton. That one comes up and Langlois soared high, but he couldn't direct it. Krakenthorpe switches it back. That's smart play. Now Bond lofts it in. It's heavy. Played into the box. Can't get it clear. McNaughton got his boot through it, that's for sure, but it was miles away. It wouldn't have even got a point in the Aussie rules. And that just sums up, I think, Lambton's ability to just get that final piece of polish on these attacking chances, Matt.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's a good example of it. They can find themselves in the box, but can't make much of it at the moment. They've still got a little bit of time in this game to search. It'll be interesting if they go to the bench. Again, no one's being readied at the moment. Riley Taylor probably hasn't had a touch on the ball yet, as he would have liked.
Cousins clubs this forward. Kennedy will take it.
Lockie Griffith's been quiet as well thus far.
In terms of looking at the bench and who else can, I guess, add some spark, you know, you've obviously got Gaffney and Graham are the other two outfield players sitting on the bench. What he could maybe add late in this game is this is an attempt to be crossed in, but Hall, who's been strong all game, isn't anything too flashy, but he's just been solid on that right defensive side. And speaking of solid, Volovsky just up to that under pressure. Couldn't quite get hands to take the ball, but was happy to just parry it over and settle back for a corner. And they've been able to hold off the set piece so far. Bond again, the man. Denellen presenting for the short corner.
Important save there. They had two boys lurking at the back stick. Sun's in the eyes.
Carter Smith here, you feel almost the most key of players for Lambton, but that's just left too short by Bond again. Denellen plays it out to him. Bond had rushed back to get onside. He'll have another crack here. This time, hits it back looking at finds top or Stanley, but a little too big this time. It's back to Krakenthorpe. Krakenthorpe slices underneath this one, trying to put it into the top of the box for Smith, who heads it down, but not quite where he wanted it. Bond slides in. McNaughton comes racing out. Chips it into the box, and Volovsky out to it and takes it calmly. What a take from Jordan Volovsky. Elkington down. Elkington's back up and about. He's okay. A bit of interaction between the benches now. All in good humour though. All of a sudden, Volovsky drives this long now on the referee's whistle. Ferguson. It's hard to hear the frustration from both sides spilling out. Langlois. He's got two numbers on the right, and that's where he goes. Oates is there, brings it down with the chest. Cousins just retreats into the box. Puts it across, Langlois chests it down. Smith taps it around. Krakenthorpe wide on the left. Goes to ground, and the ball comes away with Azzurri. And then that's just cynical from Oscar Krakenthorpe retreating back. I think he was frustrated he lost possession and just comes and gives a shove and gets a yellow card for his efforts.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration there, of course. You know, chasing the game and you're trying to do a little bit more to help your team out, trying to recover the ball as well. The third booking of the game, and you know, Charlestown are probably going to just try and tighten the screws here. Try and see out the game, as you can imagine.
Oh, I know that managing the clock's their friend, not Lambton's at this point. Another goal to Western in that other game. They lead 5-0 now, showing why they are a top three side and why they're one of the two sides representing Northern New South Wales in the round of 32 of the Australia Cup. Good defensive work here, better from Krakenthorpe. Does well to get it away, and just Pat Bond, a nice little touch there. Nearly rolled his own ankle, but it worked out okay. Oates now. He'll try and turn on the pace. Physical challenge. Sees it spill forward for Lambton still, though. They try and get it forward, but a little heavily hit as Taylor was advancing, and Volovsky will just control this one and wait till Taylor's right upon him to take it away. Time ticking down for Lambton. Just over 5 minutes remaining of regulation time. The ball beats it. A leaping Denellen. Lundy now. Could Charlestown ice it here? Not this chance. Kennedy up to the task. Takes that with two hands. Ferguson, the wily veteran, coming sneaking around just as Kennedy was about to clear that out of his hands. That would have been a nightmare Lambton did not need. Langlois drives it forward. A little too central for what they were trying. Elkington cluttered to ground. Denellen now. Langlois switching it wide. Dispossessed, though. Here's Griffiths. Hasn't had a real opportunity to get himself into the game yet, Lockie Griffiths. You touched on it before, Matt. There hasn't been a lot of attacking ball on that left for Jaffas since he's come on.
Yeah, not a whole lot, unfortunately. And again, you know, he had a touch there, but not in the space that he probably wanted it to. And he's probably just trying to force something that he doesn't need to at the moment. Again, Jaffas just trying to find answers at the moment, clutching at anything, trying to send as many bodies forward, trying to get some sort of result out of this game.
Langlois, Ferguson closes in on him. Now Smith tries to prod it forward, but again it's broken up. The defence arrives again for Charlestown, and this one will just roll away over the sideline. Norton with the throw. Bond drives it forward, looking for Taylor. And Verity does well just to shepherd the keeper in Volovsky. Go long now with the kick. There's a booming kick from Jordan Volovsky.
He's got a big foot on him for sure.
There's 2 bounces to the other keeper. I thought Ben Kennedy was going to try and enter into a game of forcey backs with the young man at the other end. Topple Stanley offered a little bit of space. Retreating McManus takes it on. Now Krakenthorpe, Langlois. They've offered Joe Langlois plenty of space today, have Azzurri. Yeah, he's closed down as soon as I say that. And Ferguson, he's got young Jared Sutherland with him. He's going to try and play him into goal. A little deflection, it plays to the outside. Riley McNaughton, though, picks off the pass that was intended to come across for Lundy. Now Denellen.
Here's a space Griffo wanted.
Out in front of Griffiths, he switched over to the right to try and overload. Takes on Verity. Feeds it into the box, and again, ball to step through, this time by Hayes. Taylor. Cross it into the box. Oh, so close. Carter Smith, he just missed it.
I know you're tired, Biggin. I know you're tired. Come on. Use your body. Kiss off, Ezra. Come on.
The Charlestown bench know how important these final minutes are right now. Plenty of chat going into the players at the moment. Fatigue's kicking in.
It certainly is, and you can see a couple of bodies. And the likes of Reem Ferguson, who probably wasn't designed or intended at this point of the season, as Carter Smith gets a chance and pokes one back late. Johnny on the spot is the young striker, and Carter Smith gets one back for the Jaffas. And all of a sudden we're tied up at 1-1 late in this game. And that almost came from nothing. We talked about Charlestown pulling something from nothing before, Butts. In terms of the build-up, that was the least threatening of a dozen of Jaffas' chances.
Yeah, for sure. You know, rabbit out of the hat moment. I think Jimmy Oates, I said earlier, he stays in the game for 90 minutes and just got up one header out of nothing, and Carter Smith was Johnny on the spot. And a good finish, tidy finish. Charlestown will be very disappointed with that, unfortunately, but it'll make an interesting couple of minutes now. See how both sides approach this.
If I'm not mistaken, that might be his first goal on his return to the Jaffas in league football. Must have got I think 3 or 4 while he's at Valentine at the start of the season.
Yeah, that'll do the world of good for him, confidence-wise.
Goal
New colours as well.
Number 19, Carter Smith.
Foul given against Oscar Krakenthorpe, and well, it looked like it was just a leaping contest. Got an Azzurri player down, and I think the referee, he's going to go to his pocket again. Wow. Oscar Krakenthorpe, that's a second yellow. So Oscar Krakenthorpe is going to be done for the afternoon. The young left back has given his marching orders late in this one. Well, there's plenty of twists in the tail late in this one, Butts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, interesting call there. I didn't think there was much doing, but the referee obviously saw something that we didn't. And unfortunately for Krakenthorpe, you know, his second yellow for the day. Not a whole lot of time left in this game. I don't think it'll make a massive impact in terms of numbers, but you know, they've got a set piece here in a good area, and we know Matt Hall's got a good delivery on him, so Jaffas need to stay well switched on and keep this one out.
It also means that Oscar Krakenthorpe will miss the game against Magic here on Tuesday night. As you said, it looked innocuous from here, but we're 70 metres away. The referee was about 7 metres away, so in a much better position to judge that. He's been informed that there was contact around his neck was the challenge, and that's why it's a yellow card. As a little bit of consternation from Charlestown here. That did appear to bounce up and hit the player's arm, but the referee said play on.
You talk about that second yellow card with Krakenthorpe and Tommy Waller out at the moment as well. They have the joy of, you know, plenty of players up front, but in the back line they're of few, unfortunately. So it will play a pretty crucial role on Tuesday come the Magic game.
It'll be an interesting puzzle that David Tenchevsky probably didn't need to have, but nonetheless it now confronts him. If only they had a young Matt Butner ready to go, mate. Hindsight, oh well. It's going to be an interesting thing for Oscar Krakenthorpe to reflect on. One of those things you just got to be ultra aware that when you are on a yellow card, that even the most innocuous thing can be something that sees you giving your marching orders late in this one. And we're a minute and a bit into stoppage time here. And Charlestown, could they conjure something here to snatch one back, or are we going to repeat their earlier clash of a 1-all result while it's met?
Just seemed like that red card gave Charlestown a bit of a lifeline at the moment.
Into the box. Oh, Ben Kennedy gets up, punches it away, not completely dealt with now. Topple Stanley sees it away with a header. Danellen with a up and raised kick, and now all of a sudden Griffiths racing away. Elkington, the man trying to stop him. In with a slide tackle, couldn't get the ball. Griffiths gets a nice little touch on for himself. He feeds it into the box, looking for Carter Smith, but again the defence of Charlestown have been strong today, and there's Verity again. You can see he's hurting from that effort, but he got back there in time to clear it away and to set for a corner.
Yeah, the two centre-backs, Verity in that case, have been exceptional today in terms of retreating defence. Really crucial moment there for the centre-back. I know he's taking in the big ones right now. There's definitely a couple of bodies hurting at the moment, but 30 seconds ago we just had a corner, Matt Hall for Charlestown, and now we're on the other end of the pitch here, and Jaffas have got an opportunity to...
Go on in, Pat Bond. Lofts it up. He gets underneath this one. Plenty on it. Little touch, was it, from Azzurri? No, says the referee, and we'll have a goal kick. And yeah, you touch on that to make it, and that gut-busting effort there, Verity, at 93 minutes gone in a game that's been absolutely end-to-end, side-to-side football. There's certainly been no shortage of running from these guys, and they've turned up time after time, both ends for defence. Yeah,
it's been a monstrous effort from both teams, and I mean, just for Verity's sake, yeah, credit to his character as well. Great player, great guy, and he's got that attitude about him.
As McNaughton goes up for it, misses. Danellen chops it forward, and sometimes people, want to see a high, enthralling score lines as this one's pushed forward. Danellen, that one looked like it came off either hand or just the side of his hip, I'm not sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a handball for me, but the referee's giving nothing today in terms of handballs, so at least he's been consistent.
I was going to say, he's been consistent both sides. Hull does well to bring it down, but we'll come back to what I was saying about low-scoring games in a moment. Hull now threads it forward, looking for Lundy. Lundy, he's got Ferguson with him. That's where he goes. Now he pops back into the middle. Sutherland's in the box. Riley Taylor comes away with it. I was saying, lots of people don't necessarily cry out for a 1-all scoreline. They're looking for goals, but I'll tell you what, this is as good as many of the games of football we've seen, if not any that we've seen this year, as that goes over the sideline. And a little bit of frustration at legal here. Plenty of emotion and animation from both sides. Tyrone Cousins being a little cagey there, just a little bit of gamesmanship as Lambton with a little bit of momentum. They're looking for the winner. Oates goes rolling forward, feeds it down the line for Griffiths. Does well, just keeps it in, does he? No, we're going to say the ball went over the byline and we'll have a goal kick. Both teams seem a little puzzled by it, but again, the assistant referee in perfect position. Can't be long left now. 4.5 minutes of stoppage time gone. Maybe time just for one last salvo for Azzurri, or if Lambton can turn this goal kick straight around and get its one on target, could they manage to win what almost seemed unwinnable only moments ago? No, they cannot. The referee says that is full time here at Arthur Eden Oval in round 16. And it's another shared result for Charlestown and Lambton this season. It's also another match where Lambton might rue some missed chances. It does keep the table tight, but does it satisfy either side? Do you think there's a side that will feel that they left more behind here, or will both be reasonably happy with a point taken?
I don't think either side are probably happy with 1 point, Chris, to be honest. I don't think either side could say that they deserved the win, though. I think it was very even. I think both sides have half chances during the game. I don't think there was any, clinical, clear-cut opportunities for either side. And, again, it's an important result for both sides. They were both looking for a win today, but it's not the be-all and end-all. There's still plenty of football to be had. And, look, both sides are still venturing to try and stay into the top 6. And although it doesn't do them massive favours, it is a point, and they'll march on.
They certainly will. It's a result where both, as you say, would have loved 3, but 1 is a fitting result. It was a great game of football for the neutral, and it certainly sets up both teams to continue that run, chasing finals of football. It does get Azzurri a little clearer of Olympic for the time being. It actually will pull Jaffas equal with Olympic on points, so depending on what comes out of Newcastle Olympics fixture this weekend when they come up against Maitland tomorrow evening, that could tell us a lot, and it could see Lambton Jaffas sitting in equal 5th at the end of the round. But it was a goal in the first half to Regan Lundy that saw Azzurri lead 1-0. And then a late goal coming the way of Carter Smith, which saw Lambton pull it back. We did see a late second yellow to Oscar Krakenthorpe as well, which meant Lambton finished with 10. But an enthralling fixture nonetheless, a well-officiated fixture. And we really enjoyed what we got to do here today. So that's full time here.